Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, and today I'm here to talk about Season 3, Episode 2 of HBO's The White Lotus, entitled Special Treatments. I was wrong about something I said last week, and I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong. I said last week that Episode 1 didn't give me enough, and I said that I was certain that I would come back and sit in front of this camera, in front of you guys, after Episode 2, and say that the initial drop should have been 2 episodes because it was all going to come together after 2 episodes. And I was wrong, because now I'm here to say that I like this episode even less than I like the first one, and that this episode did nothing to give me any optimism about where this season is going. Like, longtime fans of this channel know that while I do enjoy a good slow burn, it needs to be a good, operative word, slow burn. Give me something to keep me coming back. Give me something to make me want more. Do that and you can take all the time you need. I loved Ripley. Ripley was a slow burn, but it was incredible. That's just not what's happening here. Like, virtually none of these people are interesting. And if you want me to find interest in them, tell me something about these people. We've sat through 2 entire hours of this season, and we don't know shit about Rick other than that he has an unhealthy obsession with Kun Tala's husband. That's it. Like, we don't know why Rick has such a shitty attitude. We don't know why he's so interested in Kun Tala's husband. And I don't need the answers to those questions after 2 episodes. But can you give me enough to pique my interest? Like, yeah, so we learned this week that his mom OD'd when he was 10 and his dad was murdered before he was born. That is so little information and tells me nothing about his obsession with Kun Tala's husband, why he's there, like what sort of relationship he has with Chet. Like, I know nothing about this guy. How is that supposed to be enough to make me interested in this character's story after 2 hour-long episodes? And yeah, like I'm absolutely certain that the picture is going to form over the course of the season. But how much longer am I going to have to wait before things even begin to connect? Not even like fully connect, just begin to connect. Like, if I learn in episode 3 that he has a gluten allergy or some shit, like, I would be fucking pissed. And you should be too. Like, I complained a lot last year about shows being mediocre as fuck, making poor decisions, and or withholding vital information so they could do some big reveal or some twist at the end. And I'm not dealing with that stupid shit this year. Like, don't drag this shit out just to be like, oh, Kun Tala's husband is the guy who murdered Rick's father. Like, in the finale. Like, don't make me sit through 7 episodes of incremental or non-existent progress for a weak-ass reveal like that at the end. Like, surprise! Like, especially if that's it, then I just guessed it after episode 2. But, I'm concerned now that this is starting to become a trend where you get like next to nothing just so that people can't guess what you're going to do. And then you could surprise them at the end, because fans being able to figure out twists and shit like that has become a problem. And I don't think this is how you solve it. Then you have the Cougar plot line. That's just what I'm going to call it for the rest of the season, with Kate, Lori, and Jacqueline. And again, absolutely certain that this will go somewhere, and it's probably going to go somewhere interesting and good. But when the fuck is that going to happen? Because this episode did the exact same thing that the first one did. It showed us that the relationship dynamic between these 3 has a lot of unsaid tension. Like, you mean to tell me that there are women out there that will smile in your face and talk shit about you behind your back? No way. Like, come the fuck on, man. Like, what an unimaginative, boring, and predictable way to start their story. Like, I know people get mad at me when I say a show is moving slowly early on, but I want to reiterate that I'm not expecting the entire picture in 2 episodes. What I am expecting is something that's going to make me want to come back next week and see what happens. An episode of women gossiping about each other behind their backs is not going to do that. Like, it doesn't tell me anything new or compelling about these women or any other women. On the contrary, it makes them real fucking ordinary, because you can relate to and understand that without being the kind of person that generally goes to these resorts on this show. Everybody knows somebody who smiles in your face and talks shit about you behind your back. But this episode presents that behavior as if it's supposed to make me like sit up in my chair to see such inauthenticity. Like, not only was I not intrigued, I was annoyed that they ran the exact same concept twice in the same episode. Like, the episode opens with Jacqueline and Kate doing it. Then later, Kate and Lori do it behind Jacqueline's back. Like, was that supposed to be funny? Like, I feel like that might have been what they were going for, because As soon as Kate and Lori were alone without Jacqueline, I rolled my eyes literally and said, I bet they're going to start talking shit about Jacqueline. And so, like, when a show is that laughably predictable in episode 2, like, that's just a really great way to lose me or to give me, to take away any hope that I might have for the direction of the show going forward. And yes, before anyone hops on to tell me that information was shared in those scenes, I know. I heard them say it. But maybe find a less eye-roll inducing way to tell me that Lori's daughter is acting out after her divorce. Hey everybody, I just want to take a small break from this review to talk about the various other ways you can engage with me on other platforms. If you're so inclined, and I understand why you wouldn't, I am an acquired taste, but you can join the Patreon where you can get extra content like retro reviews, where I review old shows and movies to see if they still hold up today. Mike's Musings, where I talk about shows I'm watching that I don't cover on the channel, or Mike's VOD, where you can commission me to watch a show, which I will then review on the channel. And if you want to engage with me and chat with me more directly, I also implore you to join the Discord and follow the Facebook page. I set up channels in the Discord for all of us to discuss the shows I'm reviewing on the channel, and I also drop new videos in there, so this is the easiest platform for me to share to from my phone. The Facebook can be really fun because I sort of live comment on shows I'm watching, often while under the influence, I'm not going to lie. And I'll also share news there, both about television and film, and about myself as well. So if you like my content, you want to be more engaged, you think I'm charming, or you simply want to show support, feel free to sign up for the Patreon or join the Discord or Facebook today. Links to all platforms are in every video description. Remember to share all my shit to your respective social media platforms. And now back to this review. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, there was still some stuff that I liked about this episode. I think mostly everything with the Ratliff family is compelling, except Saxon, because again, not only have I seen that type of character a million times, I've seen that character on this fucking show before. So I'm still waiting on Saxon to become interesting, and it's probably going to be a while if that ever happens at all. However, the rest of the family's got my attention. Parker Posey, playing this character like this just seems to be gliding through life on Lorazepam is really working for me. Like initially I thought she was kind of like solely going to be comic relief, which to be clear, that I'd have been fine with that. But I like what they did with her in that scene with Kate. I think, and I'm not sure, but I think we're to understand that Victoria likely does remember this weekend with Kate, but she's downplaying it because she's trying to hide something. Whoever this mutual friend is, the thing that they were at, this Claire Popovich, I remember the name because I was like, is she related to Greg Popovich? Whoever that is probably going to become relevant at some point. So I've already enjoyed the character of Victoria, but I like the idea that she might have a role to play, a fairly significant one maybe, in whatever's going on here. The stuff with Timothy I think is solid too. Unlike everything else this season, his plotline is moving really well. Like, he spends most of the episode trying to get in touch with Kenneth Wynn, who I hear is voiced by, well, I can't voice by like he's animated, but oh my goodness. Oh, I've always known his name and now I can't remember it. Short Round from Indiana Jones. I hear everybody, everything, everywhere, all at once. I don't even remember the name of that movie now. But I use Short Round from Indiana Jones and from the Goonies. But Data from the Goonies. But apparently that was his voice. I didn't catch it at the time, even though he has a very distinctive voice. But that was him. And Timothy spends the majority of the episode trying to get in touch with him. But he's struggling due to it being nighttime here in the States and daytime there in Thailand. And after he learns the Washington Post is also trying to talk to him, that's when he finally hears back from Kenneth. And I loved how this was an immediate and very clear escalation of the circumstances for Timothy, and he was still in disbelief. Like, Kenneth's like, yeah, I got raided by the FBI. They have everything. I got a lawyer. I should have never gone to Brunei. And yes, you are 100% implicated in this shit. And Timothy's like, so when you say yes, do you mean yes that I'm implicated in this? And he's like, oh, it does? All I did was make $10 million off of this. Like, don't make me kill you over this motherfucker. But you know what I love about the Timothy stuff? The fact that he has to hear about how truly fucked over he is over the phone while he's on vacation. Like, he's hearing about it. Like, that's got to be absolutely nerve-wracking. Then, of course, he's going to want to keep this from his family. So that's going to add even more stress. And my next thought was like, shit, if it's this bad, maybe he should just stay in Thailand. like if you're going to get caught for something that you will absolutely go to prison for, it's probably like best case scenario that situation comes to light while you're overseas. But essentially, when you well, finding about it overseas, especially when you otherwise would not have even had your phone in the first place to find out. So he lucked out that not lucked out, but it was a good decision, beneficial to him to keep his phone. And now he's learning over the phone about how his life is crashing to bits in the United States. But I looked up the extradition laws, and Thailand does have an extradition treaty with us. So I don't know where the Timothy plotline is going. I would have thought for sure he's just going to stay there, but this is how you gain my buy-in. I'm interested now. Where is that going? He could possibly still get extradited. What's he going to do? How is this going to escalate? We on episode 2, and he's already been told, like, yes, you are 100% implicated. Like, how is this going to escalate? I'm interested. That's how you do it. And again, when I'm comparing it to what I didn't like earlier, I don't have the full picture of Timothy's situation. I feel like I got 10% of the fucking picture, but they're giving me enough to get my buy-in and make me interested in that character in this story. Yeah, it sounds like he's in money laundering or something, but I don't know. Things are likely going to get worse for him back home while he worries about it in Thailand and tries to get his wife to sober up and stop his son from fucking his other son. Like, I don't know. Things are really going bad for Timothy right now. Speaking of Saxon, again, not going to spend a ton of time on him. This week, he makes a lot of creepy faces. His dick gets hard during a massage, which, I mean, in all fairness. And then he loudly searched for a blender. I mean, more examples of him being a creep. Riveting. What a waste. They didn't advance the subplot of Piper interviewing the monk, which I kind of wanted to see that. But at least she knows now that both of her brothers wonder if she's a virgin. Riveting. Again, instead of the actual interesting thing, now that's happened. But next, I want to talk about Mook and that other guy that likes her. I learned his name is Gaitok. Gaitok continues to put the full court press on Mook, and I don't know. I'm gonna bring this question to the room. How do you think she's responding? To me, it looks like he gets her like about as wet as the Sahara, and she sees him as more of a brother than anything else. But after the robbery scene, my wife thought that she seemed like she might have kind of been into him now. It still came off to me as like concern for like a loved one and not evidence of desire. But I'm curious what you guys think. I've heard a few different takes on how she is. I don't want to say dealing with him. We gotta make it sound like an issue, but like her perception of him. I've heard a couple of different takes, so I'm curious what you guys think. And speaking of the robbery, that was an interesting thing to introduce too. Like I'm not mad at that at all. It was clearly planned, as that one guy was obviously there to distract Gaitok. And I'm moderately curious about who the perpetrator is, but I'm more concerned with what they were there to steal and why. They end up stealing a bracelet that Chelsea wanted to look at, which means that she's inevitably going to see that bracelet on someone later in the season. Again, about as predictable as they come. But I didn't foresee an additional major crime taking place. So now I'm wondering if this robbery is going to connect with the shooting from the season opener, and if so, how? Again, something that interests me. There you go. Finally, because not a lot to cover here, I want to wrap up this short video about this uneventful episode with a couple of closing thoughts. The best thing that happened with Rick this week was the dinner with Greg, in which we learned that they both do this and that for a living. I loved how it was like Chelsea was trying to have Rick like make a new friend. Like, yeah, y'all, like I think who made it? Chris Rock made a joke about that. I think like, hey, y'all both play, like he likes baseball. He likes baseball. We should be friends now. But I get the feeling that Rick and Greg's relationship is going to be pretty antagonistic, like Rick's relationship with Timothy. So we'll see, but very curious as to how Greg's going to be incorporated in this season. And Belinda seems to recognize him in this episode as well. At least she seems like she dismisses it, but at least for a minute she's thinking about it like, do I know that guy? So very interesting to see where that's going to go. And that's all I got for this week. Sorry, like I know I was hard on this episode, but I mean, if you're feeling this season so far, I love to hear how. Like, I don't want to hear it's good. I like it. Like, what do you like about it? Because like I said, I laid out how I am disinterested in the Cougar plot line and how I feel like it's gone nowhere. Like I did the same thing with Rick. Like I said, this is why. If you feeling this season tell me why. Like, what do you like about the Cougar plot line? What do you feel like you know about Rick that has gained your interest level that hasn't resonated with me? I love to hear in the comments, so let me know. Let's see, what's the last thing? It was just a bunch of stuff about me asking those same questions. So this is a show that relies heavily on the viewers being bought in on the characters, who they are, and their relationships with one another. And I just think that through these first 2 episodes, this season has done next to nothing with those things. And the little bit it has done, like with the Cougars, is mostly unimaginative and uninspired feeling. But I mean, look, I've been wrong before. People have traditionally not hesitated in telling me how much they disagree with whatever the fuck comes out of my mouth. So feel free to tell me that I'm a moron in the comments. I'll read what you say. I'll probably respond as long as you're respectful. But like, this is feeling very much like season 1, like a season where some people who just connect with these type of characters and just find them interesting end up loving the season. And I'm just like, these characters don't work for me. Therefore, the season doesn't. Season 2 worked for me. This one is off to a bad start. Again, even the characters that I'm interested in, that I feel like have given me enough, like Timothy. I mean, I still, Timothy's only moderately interested. Like, I'm only kind of into that. So like, I don't know. Next week's going to be a big one. I'm not going to stop covering the show. I'm not going to stop watching it. I'm going to watch the whole thing. I'm going to cover all 8 episodes. But this could end up being one of the things where I'm just coming on here every week shitting on the show. And I try to avoid that as best I can. But again, let me know what you thought in the comments. And until next week, peace.